Well, when the pandemic hit in March, the school year abruptly ended for students all over Indiana. E-learning became the norm. Now districts across Indiana are trying to figure out what the 2021 school year will look like. The state's largest school district has released its plan this week. Indianapolis Public School Superintendent Alicia Johnson joins us now to share details. And Alicia, as always, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, I know we talked before and then after you were selected as superintendent, and I imagine you didn't anticipate anything like a pandemic in your first year.
No, this was not in the predictions, and not certainly in any class I've ever gotten to take part of is how you lead through a pandemic, and yet here we find ourselves.
Yeah, well, give us some perspective, if you would. Massive school district, 31,000 students, enormous challenges just in normal times. What has it been like trying to work through this and then plan for the school year ahead in this pandemic situation?
Sure. You know, during the course of this time, I've done a weekly and biweekly video to our school community. And one of the key themes I've tried to continue to reiterate is this idea of grace, and the grace we need to give ourselves and give others during this time. We are all navigating something we've not navigated before. And so making sure that we are graceful with one another, but also as it relates to our planning, that we're being flexible, responsive, keeping the #1 priority focused on our students and staff being safe.
Okay, in-person classes are scheduled to resume August 3. You have just released your COVID-19 plan, if you will, for the year ahead. Give us an overview, if you would. I know a lot of social distancing and mask wearing and those types of things, but what are some of the high points of this plan?
Sure. So we know over the course of the last several weeks, guidance has come from the Indiana Department of Education, from the Indiana Department of Health, from the Marion County Public Health Department most recently, and then obviously at the federal level, the CDC. And so we've been able to leverage all of that guidance to inform the plan that we developed for our school district. In IPS, a couple of those highlights, all students will be required, and staff required to wear masks. We know that's really important in, again, combating the spread of COVID-19. So that will be a requirement for all students in the district and all staff in the district. The Marion County Public Health Department calls on schools to ensure we can have at least 3 to 6 feet of social distancing happening in our buildings and with interactions between students and staff. And so we'll be implementing that guideline as well, making a number of purchases to support safety. So our first round of purchases of touchless water fountains, for example. So our water fountains that you traditionally have won't be able to be used. So we've implemented new ones that children can use for water bottles and those type of things. So that will be in place. On the bus, our students will be required to wear masks on the bus. And we're also looking forward to having additional bus monitors who will be able to ride along with the driver to do things like ensure we have assigned seats for students on busing, that students are spreading out on the bus. And so those are just a couple of the things that we're putting in place to ensure safety. Yeah,
and there's cost involved, obviously, to the district in this. How is that being absorbed or being handled at the present time?
Yeah, you know, we're thankful that from the federal level, at least, the CARES Act was passed a number of weeks ago that will give all districts access to some additional federal funding specific to supporting the costs related to responding to COVID-19 in schools. So we're thankful for that additional funding. We also know we have a pretty generous philanthropic community in Indianapolis. Certainly, they've been supportive through these times, specifically the Indianapolis E-Learning Fund, launched to support all public schools with technology needs. The IPS Foundation is a great partner of the district, and they've launched the IPS Education Equity Fund, which will allow us to support our recovery efforts. And then obviously just the budget that we have and making smart decisions about how we leverage our resources. But it is a very costly endeavor. We're at the 15 million mark and counting. as it relates to the purchases we've made for students and staff.
Well, and I know you've done some surveys. You've sent things out trying to gauge how many students actually will be coming back to the classroom, and what's the plan for those students who are unwilling or unable to physically come back to school?
Yeah, we know families, it's a very serious, important personal decision each family will need to make about what's the best environment for their students. So we will have a fully remote learning option where learning will be happening at home online. And then we'll also offer the in-person instruction that will happen in the school building, obviously with the safety and health protocols in place. We did give the survey out. About a third of respondents said if a full virtual option was offered, that they would take advantage of that. So we will see if those numbers hold. That window is currently open for families to tell us which model of instruction they would prefer, and will be open for the next week.
Alicia Johnson is the superintendent of Indianapolis Public Schools. Alicia, thank you very much for that overview of a big plan. You've got a big job at the state's largest school district. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. You all stay safe and well.
All right, you too.